warm sheet.
Ovid is speaking in a vision to the God of doorways, beginnings, and endings, Janus. Ovid asks, why are joyful words spoken on the kalends, that is the beginning of the month? And why do we give and receive good wishes? And then leaning on the staff gripped by Janus in his right hand, Janus answers, omens attend upon beginnings. Anxious, your ears are alert at the first word, and the augur interprets the first bird that he sees. When the temples and ears of the gods are open, the tongue speaks no idle prayer. Words have weight. Words have weight. I have told on myself for being a big fan of etymology and also mythology, connected as they often are, and especially at this time of year. I've not gotten to preach at the beginning of January before, but I knew when I did I would preach about Janus in some way. Such an interesting figure. You might be familiar with the depiction. Guy with two faces, kind of scary looking maybe, perhaps, monstrous, but also a beacon and a symbol, all in their own right. A minor deity for all intents and purposes in Roman mythology, chiefly because Janus is one of the few figures in Roman mythology that does not have a Greek counterpart. It's kind of pop anthropology knowledge that the Romans drew extensively from their Greek neighbors in constructing their own mythology, their own stories to contextualize their world, to make things make sense, find their place, understand how things tick, such as time and beginnings. And as the god of beginnings, it's interesting to note that while Janus doesn't have a lot of mythology of his own, he was evoked ubiquitously at the beginning of rituals, at the beginning of Senate, the trials and proceedings, to mark, before any of the other gods are named, before Jupiter, before Juno, before anyone else, here is this god of beginnings. And not just beginnings, doorways, thresholds, bridges, all these structures we use, these things that have use, these things that mark passage from point A to point B. And here on this day, which is simultaneously a day like any other, and also a rather special day, marking the beginning of 2023, moving from one year into the next. At such a time, well, this figure most certainly would have been evoked by the ancient Romans. While I make no intentions of evoking a deity here, I do think the symbolism of this figure, with one face peering into the past, one face, the young face, peering into the future, the memory fallible, the future uncertain, and a body planted in the moment of beginnings, upon which omens are present. As interesting as this figure is, well, he provides us an opportunity to consider the reflection of the past. How much time do we spend wondering about the past, wondering about how things might have been? What a source of anxiety. Contemplating the past can be, however, this is also a means by which we can incorporate lessons, factor them into our heart, grow as individuals, grow as communities, for all the things done and left undone. And how often do we spend wondering about the future? Oh, a whole lot these days. When will the world be healed? How will we come to wholeness? What will become of me in this new year? How will I grow? How will I change? Questions we ask the future, which shrugs. frequently, often. Between the fallibility of memory and the uncertainty of the future, we find ourselves in the present holding these visions of the past and the tomorrows to come at the threshold of a moment, at the threshold of a beginning. That is to say, all moments are beginnings. And when you think about all moments as beginnings, as your eyelids blinking from second to second, as doors to a new moment in time, as similar as things can seem, there is always a beginning to attend upon. Perhaps omens are always with us. What is an omen then? Well, for the Romans, it meant signs, ways to conduct prophecy. Language can change for us quite a bit. When we use the word omen today, we often might use it like ominous, to speak of something vast and ineffable, bigger than us. And I believe this latter use is always applicable, especially today, where sometimes we may feel isolated from other people, cut aside, set aside. We may forget that we are a part of a much bigger happening, this planet, our communities, our relationships. We belong to something much larger than ourselves. When we become aware of this, we become aware, we might glean that sense of the ominous about us, the weight of the moment, and the words we use, and the things we do. When we attend to the beginning, all the beginnings in our lives, we take time to notice and to care. We may be transformed ourselves piece by piece, and in our changing, change the world in turn. As we reflect upon the past, as we peer into the future, as we take this time that is ours to take on this special day, January 1st, 2023, may we do so knowing that whatever change we seek in our heart, whatever moment of turning, whatever transformation our hearts yearn for, doesn't have to start today. Start tomorrow or in 5 months. Every day is an opportunity for change. Every day we will be changed, bit by bit, drop by drop, day by day. It can be terrifying, but it can also be exalting, be wonderful. Find the ways in which our relationships are turning us, the way our own hearts, aspirations, wishes are moving us. And while we could set these intentions any day, let us set them today. Well, namely, I'd like to ask how we carry our aspirations for the new year. I'm going to tell on myself because most years I have decided this is going to be the year that I just get it together. This is going to be the year that I get that calendar, that book thing, where I can keep track of all my stuff. And I'll do that for like 4 days. And then I'll lose the book. It just disappears. And so I have had to learn to work within the bounds of who I am. And I'm never going to be the person that has a meticulous calendar. As much as I might want to be that person, it's not who I am. Know thyself. Know thyself. Know thy light. And know that there is so much light in us that we do not see. We may yet be surprised by, but that which we do see, that which we do know, that which has been a pattern in our lives. Well, when we claim our light, we claim our aspirations for this new year, I reckon we should start with what we know about ourselves first and foremost, which for me can be a bit of a scatterbrain and a little disorganized, but that can also be room for growth and for gifts too. Now, as I've been considering what I'm going to do for this next year, it's bit by bit, not trying to carry around an actual physical journal, but being creative with the light in me that I do have. Many people want to save money, or they want to lose weight, they want to do this, they want to do that, they want to get in shape, adopt a cat or a dog. So many possibilities for the new year. And many of us who we live into this tendency of celebrating this time as the time that we make the big, dramatic, impactful changes in our lives that will totally alter our circumstances and make us the ideal versions of who we are, as though we weren't already the ideal versions of who we are. Because we're beautiful. We're beautiful, wondrous expressions of this earth today and yesterday and in 10,000 days from now. We will be. And we will be different. We will change. Indeed. For while this day is a day like any other, it is also a day which we attend to with aspirations and intentions and rememberings and letting goes. Those are always available to us. And there is so much light of our own to claim already. So for this year, rather than trying to alter my heart and my patterns and trying to get everything dressed right, as they said when I was in the Army, just perfect. My goal for this year, for me, is to claim that imperfection and all of the light that I cannot see. I learned something interesting about light. It's everywhere, and also we can't see most of it. Light is what they call electromagnetism. We can only see a sliver of electromagnetism because the rest of it's stuff like microwaves and x-rays and, I'm not a physicist, different kinds of electromagnetic wavelengths. We can't see most light, so to speak. I reckon something can be said for the light inside of us, too. So much of what makes us who we are, what makes us wonderful and special, can be lost from us sometimes when we try to be something, that we're just not. As we claim the growing light, our aspirations for the new year, some intention we would like to set, some suggestions. Start simple, start small, and be realistic. Work with what you already know about yourself. And don't pretend in your heart like you have to do it all today. It doesn't have to happen today. Change can begin tomorrow, or in 2 months, or next year, at any time. The pivot points of change are occurring all around us, moment to moment, moment to moment. Just as this god Janus was evoked ubiquitously, so too might we evoke our own potentialities of transformation, of becoming new, but not all at once, by loving ourselves until we bloom. The flower comes from the seed, and yet they are quite different. This new year, as we're setting intentions and aspirations, no matter what they might look like, or if we're doing it at all, may we attend to the seed of our heart, what's already there. What in you contains the capacities for beauty? What is waiting to bloom? I know there's something, whether we're 9 or 90, something is growing beautifully within all of us, waiting to be given life and air and color, future. Sounds of life. May we water the gardens of our heart, friends. May we claim our light, that light that is growing.